What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Keeping It EPL. Another great weekend of Premier League action is behind us as we look forward to games coming quick and plenty this next weekend and week, Boxing Day, which is a big
Yep.
Premier League day in the league. So that's going to be fun. And a lot of interesting developments once again this last weekend. And let's just, get the elephant out of the room real quick here. I have a couple questions I want to ask you, but we'll start with this. If Arsenal and Man City want any chance at catching Liverpool, they cannot match them. They need to stop.
You can't be dropping points and gain.
Yeah. Liverpool had a crazy 2-2 draw at Anfield against Fulham, away for Fulham, which was crazy. A crazy game. Liverpool should have won, but a draw is a draw, a point's a point. And then Arsenal says, you know what? We're going to go ahead and do the same thing at home against Everton and not even score a single goal.
I mean, in fairness, Jordan Pickford had himself a day.
He did. He had a very good day, and Arsenal should have won that game as well, but they didn't. And I think, and we'll talk about Man City here in a second. I think we've talked to everybody about Man City over the last month ad nauseum, but they lost the Manchester Derby in tremendous fashion.
Yeah. By the way, hilariously, there was 115 seconds between when the penalty kick happened and when they scored the winning goal, which is fitting. 115 seconds representing the 115 charges. So I thought that was pretty interesting numerology there.
That's also another question that I'd be interested to ask too, because the way it's going right now, I'm going to say Man City, they're out of it. Last week I was kind of on the fence. They just lost 2 more points up to Liverpool, like 2 more.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're out of it. So we'll talk about Arsenal in a second, but Man City, do you think they just say, hey, why not just go ahead and give us those deductive points this year? Let us get it over with? Or you think they're still going to fight, and hopefully it never happens? Because it's bound to happen at some point.
Well, is it? I mean,
I don't know.
It seems like some of these teams have charges and then they just pay money under the table and then they go away. And then other teams,
it's still lingering though, and there's still questions. So
are just all the time dealing with, like Everton can't get out from under them from like 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Forest cooperated, appealed, and then it stayed. So there's that. If you're Man City, you probably want it this year and then just get
reload
it all
for next year
and then start your rebuilding process, because at this point they have to basically rebuild, right?
Yes.
It sounds odd, but all of their star players aside from Haaland are old, right? Like De Bruyne's 33, which
and very injury prone.
We are both older than these star players. However, we are not high priced elite athletes. So 33 in soccer terms is pretty old. De Bruyne, especially for the role that De Bruyne plays. Kyle Walker's not getting any younger or any faster.
or better.
Their defense
been terrible this year.
Great.
The midfield needs a lot of work. It's
correct.
Yeah.
So I don't know. January will be interesting to see. If they don't make any moves, then I feel like we know that they're just packing it in.
Yeah, they're punting the season.
So
shout out to Man United though. Big win for them. They needed it. But yeah, Man City, I mean, they just keep on tumbling down. I want to ask you a question. This is one that involves one of your teams.
Yes.
Is Nottingham Forest for real? Is Nottingham Forest for real? They sit 4th at the table now, and they've been playing really good Premier League football all year now, and it's been consistent. Their defense has been consistent. They're really good at home. They don't have a lot of the star caliber players that these other teams have, but as a team, they're playing really well. And a big win, 2-1 over Aston Villa, who we talked about has been kind of playing better lately. It was in the top 4 last year. So, is there any hope for Nottingham Forest to get a top 4 spot?
Maybe, but I don't know, because you still have to assume that Man City can figure things out and make a late patented run that they do, right?
Yeah.
they're still in the running for a Champions League spot.
Yes.
I would have to assume that Villa figures it out and they're talented enough.
We've
And
been saying that all year.
they're
And
starting to, though.
yeah.
They're starting to. They're hanging around. But I will say that the big thing in favor of Forest is that once you get into this point of the season, there is, generally speaking, less volatility in the table.
Mm-hmm.
And they've already gone to Man City. They've already gone to Liverpool. They've already gone to Chelsea. They've already gone to Arsenal.
Yeah, you're right.
They've gone to Brighton, another team that we're looking at. So in terms of that, they'll be at Brentford this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of, they have those teams coming back to them later in the season, right? They got points at Liverpool. They got a point at Chelsea. They got points at Brighton. So like, the road, having the road side of these matchups out of the way already,
and they're really good at home. We've already established that they're one of the better home.
Is pretty. And they played Liverpool, like they weren't playing anywhere near this good last year, and they played Liverpool really well for 99 minutes out of a 100-minute game.
Yep.
Joe Luis Diaz reigned chaos and stole the win.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting matchup, I think, for Liverpool on the calendar going forward too.
So and we'll see, because they have the FFP stuff behind them. They feel like they're in a better financial spot, so maybe they make some moves in January to shore up a couple things. I think that they're ready for Champions League next year? No.
No, probably
as a
not.
fan, I don't want them in Champions League.
Look what's happening to Aston Villa this year,
because they'll get smoked.
Yeah.
Do I want them in Europe? Yes. Would I be okay with a top 7 finish that gets them into Europe? Assuming
I think top 7 is very possible. I mean, I think that's probably going to happen at this point.
Yeah, but do I want Champions League? I don't know, because if they make Champions League, then the other thing is they get picked, like their players get taken.
It's true. That's very true. So, but kudos to them, playing great football this year and consistent. And that's what a lot of other teams aren't doing. That's why the middle of the table is so muddled. A big shout out to Ipswich, a big win over Wolves, 2-1 there at the Molineux at Wolverhampton.
Got Gary O'Neill fired.
Yep, we got 2 coaches fired over the weekend. Gary O'Neill was one of them, which you predicted on the show last week. Congratulations. You said if they lost, they're going to fire Gary O'Neill, and he gone. And of course, Southampton finally let go of their coach to a job that nobody wants right now.
Yeah, I think Gary O'Neill had very interesting comments after the game. Also, the scenes of his players fighting with the Ipswich coaching staff and yanking glasses off his face, not great. Also, they were fighting with each other. So that's not great. But then in the post game, he's like, "I'm doing the best I can with the roster they gave me," and it's like, oh,
yeah. I think that we're gonna give another eulogy today to a team I think is not going to make it to Premier League next year.
I don't know if Wolves
are writing on the wall there, but
because I think Kuna's ready to go, like ready to leave there, and there's some talk that some bigger teams could be interested. I've heard talk that Tottenham is interested in Kuna.
Yep, I mean, here comes January. It's gonna a lot of tales to tell. And Southampton, I mean, we already gave our eulogy to them last week, and they got
dead.
They lost 20 seconds into the game.
That was their coach didn't even see the 5th goal.
He was fired before the 5th goal.
No, he left the touchline and walked down the tunnel to the locker room in the 48th minute. They were playing till 49 minutes because there was like 4 minutes of stoppage. He did not see Madison's 2nd goal, the one that like kind of went from the touchline into the he didn't see it. He was already in the locker room.
If that's not a sign that what was to come, I don't know what is. But yeah, he was let go, and a job nobody wants. Southampton, we've already given our eulogy. They're going down, and it's sad because they had great stats, but they're just watching them now. Although to be honest, they played in the Carabao Cup over this week against Liverpool, and they actually played better.
Played pretty well.
But Liverpool, I mean, they didn't play a lot of their
It
stars.
was their B-side.
Yeah, pretty much.
Also, by the way, it was Tottenham's basically B-side against them too because of injuries. They can't play everybody.
Yeah, also true. But 5-0, dominating win. It was over at halftime. It was over literally 12 seconds of the game. Whatever it was, like the goal was super quick.
37 seconds.
Yeah, it was super quick. But Chelsea, that leads us to the main headline of this show. Chelsea, they did not bunker down. They did not match Liverpool. No. They said, hold my beer, and went out and played a game Brentford team, and what was a good game. And by the way, it should have been a draw, 2-2. Brentford had plenty of chances to draw this game and should have. But what can you do? The Chelsea goalkeeper is really good, man. I forget his name on the top of my head right now, but he is pretty good. Made some great stops at the end of that game to keep him alive. 2-1 at Stamford Bridge, putting Chelsea in a position to be up near Liverpool. Now, Liverpool has the game in hand against Everton, and they play before Liverpool this weekend.
Correct.
So they're 2 points down right now with that game in hand, so it could be 5. But if they win this weekend, Chelsea will actually be a point ahead before the final of Liverpool being ahead of the table. And Liverpool has a very interesting matchup, and what's probably our game of the week we'll talk about later. So, Chelsea, we talked about it last week. We said Chelsea is the team over Arsenal. We both agreed that could challenge. And I think people are starting to realize that now because they are playing really well. Nicholas Jackson's playing really well. Cole Palmer and his haircut is playing very well. And
is he trademarked Cole Palmer?
yeah. And they're absolutely on fire right now. So it's going to give Liverpool a run for the money, I think. And I think Liverpool cannot afford any more draws. They're 2 straight draws in a row. That's 4 points they have let Chelsea gather on them. And I guess you could say Arsenal, but I don't know.
Arsenal's not helping themselves, though.
They are not at all because they just matched Liverpool these last 2 weeks, and Man City is they're done. We're no longer going to talk about Man City in the title chase this show unless they do something miraculous. It's Arsenal, Chelsea, and Liverpool right now. So your thoughts on Chelsea? I know we talked about it last week. What are the odds that they win the title this year? Like over Liverpool? Like what are your odds? Let's not go by Vegas odds because it's actually you can still get really good value on them right now. It's insane.
Yeah, I would say that right now I would put it as kind of a coin flip. Right now.
I think it's almost 50-50 too. I think it's closer to 50-50 than you think. Liverpool have.
I know Liverpool has a game in hand and it's against Everton, but it's the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. So who the heck knows? And you can make the argument that playing Everton when you should have played Everton was an advantage for Liverpool. But now if you play them later in the season when they're on one of their hot streaks, it may actually cause a problem for Liverpool. Especially if it comes after the suspected points penalty that they have, because we all know they get peeved for like 6 weeks after that. Yell corruption, get hot, and save themselves.
On my calendar, May 3rd, Chelsea, Liverpool.
Yeah, that's going to be an absolute that's likely the title fight game.
Plus, Liverpool has more games to play, Champions League games, Carabao Cup games still in it, right? Chelsea's in Europa, right?
They're in Conference League.
Yeah, okay. They're not going to
Europa Conference. They should have been in Europa, but because Man U won the FA Cup, Man U's in
Chelsea is going to put all their eggs in the Premier League basket this year. Well, Liverpool has to spread them around multiple baskets.
Probably.
So and Arsenal will be doing the same as Liverpool. So Chelsea advantage there. And that's why I say 50-50.
Last game of the season for Chelsea is at Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, that is true.
Liverpool, I knew that right off the bat. So in case Forest needed relegation battles, I wanted it to be settled before they had to face Chelsea.
these 3 games before the last 2 for Liverpool are going to be tough. The end of Liverpool's schedule is tough. I know we talked about it before. They have Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal, and then Brighton, and then Crystal Palace to end things. That's a tough stretch to end the season.
It is.
That's going to be
Especially if you assume that Tottenham is healthy.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. Like that could. So I think this is going to the end, probably last day. I think this is going to be another last day here because, yeah, I just don't see it from that point of view. So, yeah, so I'm with you. I think it's almost 50-50, maybe 45-55. But Chelsea's in it. They're here, and they're a contender. And we weren't talking about that at the beginning of the year, but here we are. All right, let's look forward to this weekend, and then next week we'll try to find a way. Maybe on Monday we'll do a quick little Boxing Day show because the Boxing Day matchups are going to be great.
It's going to be pretty good. Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. Our draw of the week last week didn't hit. Nottingham went ahead and win instead. And my upset Leicester.
As a fan, I will take the 3 points over the.
Yeah, Leicester City really let me down. Really let me down. But
we thought Man City was going to use it as a bounce back, and it turns out, man, you did.
Yeah. So what we have here and what we didn't have last week is almost all of the home teams last week, except for one, were predicted to win percentage-wise. We have that a little bit flipped this week. A lot of even 50-50s, close to 50-50, and a lot of away teams as the projected to win this week. So it's going to be interesting. Let's start off with the early game. Aston Villa hosting Man City. They're giving Man City a 43% chance to win here. I think it should be lower, but hey, what do I know?
Still, man. I mean, can we still say it's still Man City?
It's still Man City, I guess. Aston Villa, obviously, they just had a bad loss after being 2 good wins. So they're at home. They need it. They're hungry. Man City, like we said, could be just kind of coasting through here. I don't give them the 43. I think it should be close to like 35% chance, maybe, with the draw being higher in this one. How do you see this?
I think this is a pretty good case for a draw
this
week.
Too.
I think Villa's been struggling a little bit. I think they're trying to figure out what to do with striker, right? Because Duran started against Forest, and then Ollie Watkins came in late, which was flipped from what they had been doing.
Correct, yeah.
But now I kind of feel like if you have 2 strikers, you don't have a striker. I think that's a situation that's brewing.
And neither can play really wide, so it's kind of
correct. They're very narrow.
Yeah.
They rely on the wingers getting them the ball, swinging them in, whatnot. I feel like this is a draw because I do feel like Man City still has the ability to be potent.
25.8% of a draw. It is actually the highest percentage of most likely to be a draw of all the matches this week. So I'm with you there. I would predict this one to be a draw, maybe 1-1, 2-2. There will be some goals, I feel, only because Man City's midfield is so defensively terrible that I could see Ollie Watkins or Duran getting in through them. Yeah. So I think this is going to be a draw. Yeah, I'm with you there. This is going to be a very interesting game, this next one. Brentford hosting Nottingham Forest. So we just talked about Forest at the beginning of the show. Brentford's the slight favorite, 41% to 31% Nottingham Forest, with the draw being at 26.4. Brentford's went on a run. Lately, they have not. They've been kind of down, but they still know how to score goals and stay in every game. They're still exciting to watch, a good team. I think this could be another draw, but if I had to pick a winner, I think I would pick Brentford to win this at home. Nottingham Forest away. They just came off, big win.
Last January, Brentford beat Forest 3-2 at G-Tech, and it was a draw in the opposite fixture. Brentford can score a lot of goals. And the Forest defense has been a little questionable the last few weeks. They've been getting
still
away
good,
with stuff.
Yeah, but away is what.
Yeah, but they've also been getting away with some stuff from teams that haven't been as threatening as Brentford can be. So I'm with you. I think it's probably a loss on the road. Would I love that
No.
Be different? Sure, 100%. But do I realistically think Forest is going to go to the G Tech and beat them? I think they're going to need some stuff to go their way for that to happen.
Yep. With you there. Newcastle, after a big win. Wouldn't call it a big win, but they beat Leicester City, I think, 4-0, 4-0. They travel on the road to Ipswich, who did have a big win. Newcastle's gained a 52% here. Opta match prediction score. That's pretty big for them after a big win. But Ipswich at home, 24.1%. I kind of like this. Could be my upset here.
I do too.
Yeah.
Really
I know we keep on picking on Newcastle this year, but
there's kind of a reason.
Yeah. And they proved me wrong last week, but this is a little bit of a different story here. You're traveling to Ipswich. And Ipswich has a pretty solid defensive record, and they tend to stay in games and can win at the end. I kind of like Ipswich here. I think that's my upset.
I mean, they literally won it with the last kick last week.
Yeah, exactly. So I like Ipswich to be like a close, grinded out game, win by 1 in this one. So, and you agree. So there you go. Yep. Newcastle's just not Newcastle was fun last year. What happened?
They got tired. Eddie Howe never changes his lineups.
Yeah, he kind of looks like if a Lego man was a real person.
Oh man.
when he gets mad, his hands are cupped like this and he puts his
Oh my.
All right.
The only 2 British managers left in the Premier
League. West Ham, 34% predicted to win at home. However, Brighton, and by the way, this is the third away team with the better prediction score. Brighton, 40.3% to win at West Ham. We all talk about Brighton at home at Amex. It's a fortress, but they're going to West Ham, to what used to be an Olympic Stadium. That looks weird when you watch it. London Stadium. West Ham, I mean, yeah, draw?
I don't know, man. Brighton on the road hasn't been great.
No, West Ham just hasn't been great in general.
West Ham hasn't been great.
The only time they've been good is when they leave London.
Correct.
And they've only done it like once. So
yeah, this game last year ended in a scoreless draw.
Yeah, that seems about right.
In January.
There's a lot of high draw probabilities this weekend. A lot.
A lot. You also have to take into account that there's Boxing Day matchups.
Correct. Yeah.
Coming in. So, this kind of, how much do you go for it this weekend versus Boxing Day and vice versa?
I see a draw on this one. If I
do too.
Yeah, it's not an exciting game. I will not be watching.
No, Arsenal should smoke Crystal Palace.
Yeah, so we said that about Everton last week.
However, they played each other in the quarters of the Carabao Cup midweek, and it was an absolute slogfest that Arsenal barely pulled out.
Yeah. By the way, 56% chance to win. That is the highest of the week. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4 of the last 5 matches we have talked about, the away team has been the favorite percentage-wise to win. So that means there's going to be a lot of draws.
Arsenal started with a B lineup and then subbed some of their key guys in, and they looked better once they subbed some of their key guys in. So I would assume that, guys like Odegaard and Saka and Jesus are starting in this game, and then they'll look like the normal.
Which Jesus? Just kidding.
Whichever one came back from the
dead. Yeah.
Whoever's about to be born in like 5 days.
Yeah, I mean, I would bet on Arsenal on this one, and probably by 2 goals, but I would have said that last week against Everton. But Crystal Palace is a little bit more leaky than Everton. Everton, after that, first 6 games of the season, their defense really locked up and started not allowing so many goals. So, but
then of course you have Keller cut out there going, we deserve to win the last 6 games. It's like, well, if you did, you would have won them, but you didn't. So you didn't win them.
Yeah. I wonder if you could make custom Lego men and just make one with him in like a Newcastle jersey.
I think you can.
Arsenal wins that one, I think. Chelsea, 54% chance favorites again. Away team again. Going to Everton. Everton surprised us against Arsenal last week.
I don't think they do it this week.
Chelsea. Now we just talked about Everton's defense.
I think there's two key differences here between Chelsea and Arsenal.
They're yes.
One
Age.
is well, yes, age. Secondly, Arteta has been at Arsenal for like 8 seasons now, right? 6 seasons, something like
Hasn't
that.
been that long. Wow.
I think so, something like that.
He's such an asshole.
But he's predictable, right? They know his
Yeah.
system. It takes a joint effort for Arsenal to score. It does
Yes.
not take a joint effort for
No.
Chelsea to score. They have about 6 dudes who can put it in from anywhere
Yep.
at any time and aren't afraid to share. Plus, Maresca is still new, right?
Yeah.
By the way, impressive that 2 new coaches are leading the top of the table.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Correct.
but yeah, Chelsea's also way faster than Arsenal.
Yeah. Younger, more athletic. Yeah, for sure.
Right. So the fact that Everton could just stop passes against Arsenal, great. But you know where those passes are going. You don't against Chelsea.
If you were building a team right now and you had to choose between these two players, who would you choose based on their current form? Saka or Jackson? I think you take Jackson right now, right?
Also, since I think the start of 2023, Nico Jackson has more non-penalty goals than anybody in the Premier League.
Correct. I would take Jackson right now over Saka, like immediately. And would you take Cole Palmer or Odegaard?
I'd probably take Palmer because he appears to be malleable in terms of the system that he can play in, whereas Odegaard only really fits Arteta's system.
Isn't that crazy that we're talking about?
But I also don't feel like Odegaard disappears from time to time, and I do feel like that
Cole Palmer does. Yeah. But man, he one little touch of a ball can just be so beautiful with him. Yes. I don't know why he has to have that stupid bowl cut, but
he likes it, man. The British haircut, man. He likes it.
But yeah, no, I'm with you, and it's crazy that we're talking about that now. It's insane. I give them Chelsea a win, but I think it's going to be a struggling win. I think they're going to win like 1-0, 2-, something like that. I think they're going to have a little bit of trouble with that Everton defense. And we'll see how the lineup looks because of Boxing Day. Will be interesting for Chelsea as well, because I think Chelsea has a big matchup on Boxing Day, if I'm not mistaken.
They play Fulham.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So it's a close rivalry because Craven Cottage is
correct
on the road.
It is a huge rivalry, and Fulham played Liverpool well, so
I mean the cross street of Stamford Bridge is literally Fulham Road, so
so it's going to be a good matchup, but Chelsea should have advantage there. But two tough defensive teams here for Chelsea, so we'll see. I think they should win them both, but you never know.
Fulham's beating Southampton. We can just
they are a 64% favorite at home against a Southampton team. But okay, I'll give Southampton a little bit of credit. They did play well against the Liverpool B team this week, and they seem to be a little bit more pep in the step. So we'll see. I think Fulham will win, not by a lot, 1-0, 2-1. Yeah, I'll give Fulham that. Leicester City and Wolves here. Now we're getting to the away teams actually not being the favorites. Leicester is a 43% chance. Wolves 30.3. This has draw written all over it. Leicester's dealing with a new manager. Wolves will have an interim manager until they find a new one. This game's going to be ugly.
Yeah, I think they have a new manager.
The Wolves do already?
They hired a Portuguese guy.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to be.
I think they were hoping to have him in place by this weekend, but I don't know if he'll.
Okay, yeah, I read he wasn't going to be there yet. So I know they hired him, but I wasn't sure he was going to be on the pitch line. So and Leicester,
Ruud van Nistelrooy has been doing okay with Leicester,
except for they just got destroyed by Newcastle. But we'll see how it works out. I'm not excited about this game. A draw could be in the favor at 26.7% of a draw. I'd be willing to predict that. But if Wolves do lose this game. Okay, I'm not going to give the Wolves my eulogy yet. If they lose this game, then I'll give them my eulogy, because Leicester is one that they'd be battling to
then they're facing Man U the following week on Boxing Day.
Yes, which I want to talk about this game because this is my upset of the week.
You think Bournemouth is beating, or you think
Yes.
Man U is beating Bournemouth?
I think Bournemouth is going to beat Man U.
I
Hear
would
me
say so.
hear me out.
I
Hear
would
me out.
agree with you.
Okay. Dang it. Man, just Man U just came off an emotional win for the Manchester
Correct.
Derby. That's their Super Bowl. Bournemouth has been playing really well.
Yes.
They just came off, I believe, a draw with West Ham at home, right?
Yes.
In that Monday game that was very boring.
Correct. They came back and beat Ipswich in the 87th minute.
Mm-hmm.
They
But if you
beat
look at the table, Bournemouth is 6th
Correct.
on the table with 7 wins. Man United 6 wins. Bournemouth a +3. They've given up 21 goals to 24 scored. Man U 19 to 21 scored. I think just an emotional letdown for Man
Also,
U.
last year, Man U did not beat Bournemouth last year.
And maybe, just maybe, Man U is like, we got a nice easy run here. We got Bournemouth, and then we have Wolves, and then we have Newcastle and Old Trafford. We could get 9 points here, and just don't underestimate Bournemouth right off the bat.
They went to Old Trafford last year and beat them.
Correct. That's what I was going to mention next. Yep. So, kind of a trap game for Man United here. Right before a big win and what looks like an easy schedule on paper, but Bournemouth is no slouch this year.
Correct.
So, that's my upset of the week. You agree. So,
I would agree. Yes.
All right, let's move into the game of the week.
Oh, God. I don't know where to go with this one.
the roller coaster of Tottenham Hotspur, which has been a great ride all year.
Sick, man, I don't want to be on this anymore.
Is hosting Liverpool, who have 2 straight draws and have been a little bit a shade of themselves. The last few match weeks, obviously, they have that gap in between of the weather game with Everton that's in hand now. Liverpool away, another away team favorites, which we kind of figured. 52.7%. Tottenham 24.6%, and the draw at 22.7%. Liverpool has to win this game to put
to stay top of the table.
A statement. If they draw or lose, it's anyone's game. Even Arsenal's back in it. They have to win. Tottenham's roller coaster. Now, here's the thing with Tottenham. Every time they blow out an opponent, the next game they completely fumble the ball.
Correct.
Completely.
They almost did. They almost did against Man U.
Yeah.
On Thursday, they tried their darndest to give that game away because their goalie is inept with his feet.
So Tottenham has a lot of injuries, and the places where Tottenham has the injuries, unfortunately for you, my friend, is where Liverpool absolutely strives.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And Mo Salah was rested over the week. Luis Diaz was rested over the week.
Yep.
Soberslai was rested over the week. Virgil van Dijk was rested over the week.
Yep. It's not going to be good. Liverpool's going to beat them.
You're getting a nice and rested, star-powered Liverpool team to come in here against the weakness of Tottenham, which is where the defense pretty much is.
Bandages and crutches everywhere.
Correct. Now, I think the Spurs can score. Spurs can score in this game. I think they have the ability to score a nice counterattack goal. And I remember what they did to Man City earlier this year. And they're going to have to play kind of the same role. Unfortunately for them, the Liverpool midfield is very good defensively.
Yes.
So that's going to be kind of a weakness there as well. So I think Liverpool does win this game. I think it's going to be a good game. It's not going to be a blowout or anything. But
I think it's like 2-1 Liverpool.
Yeah, I can see something like that, which is let's see. Last time they played at Anfield was 4-2. Last year, Spurs did beat Liverpool 2-1, but again, these are two crazy different teams than
right. That was also in the first 10-game run of Ange, which is where 8 of his wins have come from. Since then, he's below 500.
Mm-hmm. And they did the loss to Chelsea after being up. They lost away to Bournemouth, tied with Fulham. That were the 3 games before the 5-0 beatdown of the worst team in the Premier League. So I think that 5-0 beatdown was a little bit of a but hey, we played Southampton. Come back to earth a little bit here. In a game that Liverpool, I hate to say they have to win, but if they want to make a statement, they need to win here. As far as where we look at stats pretty even on chances created, 2.87 for Liverpool to
I mean, that's the thing with
2.69.
Tottenham, right? Their stats belie their standing. They are tops in goals scored. They're really good at
Correct.
getting
Now,
shots.
average
They're
goals conceded per match, that's where it teeters.
a little bit, although
Yeah.
Tottenham still has the third best defensive record in the
Yeah.
Premier League.
Yeah, and of course,
So
Liverpool has one of the best, if not the
they
best,
have
actually.
allowed the third fewest and scored the most, and yet they're like 10th in the standing.
That's why we call them the roller coaster ride that is Tottenham
Yeah.
Hotspur. So I think the predictions are pretty on there. Looking ahead here to some who's playing on Boxing Day. If you look at Spurs here, they're after this,
Forest.
they got to quickly turn around and play Forest in Forest. It's going to be a tough game.
Yes.
Then they get Wolves at Newcastle at home, and then the Arsenal game. So kind of an interesting stretch for them. Now look at Liverpool here. They're just coming off a bad stretch, one of the hardest stretches of their season. After this, they get home to Leicester, West Ham, Man United, and then Forest in Forest. So kind of.
By the way, the other thing to keep in mind with the Spurs Liverpool game, I don't know how much Spurs want to show Liverpool because they're playing each other in the semis.
Yeah, they are. They're playing in the Carabao Cup in the semis. What's the date of that?
Ange is gung ho to win that cup. Like, I know that most people, could care less. Cup, right, is the nickname for it. Nobody cares about it except when you need a trophy, go get the trophy.
Literally a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds won it last year.
Yeah, exactly.
For Liverpool.
Yes.
I mean, Connor Bradley's pretty damn good, So is Kwanzaa and so yeah. So it's not like they're bad 19, 18-year-old players for Liverpool, but
yeah. Well, our entire roster right now for Tottenham is 18 years old.
Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting game. That's obviously the game of the week, but I think Liverpool does win. Again, my upset and your upset too. We both agree Bournemouth over Man United, and just a boatload of ties throughout these matches. Whenever you have that many away teams projected to win percentage-wise, there's going to be draws.
Correct.
A lot of them. So if you're doing pick'ems, just note there's going to be probably at least 3, if not more, draws this weekend. If I had to guess. Any last words to your men before they go out and try to tackle Liverpool?
No. I mean, if we get a point, great, but it's not looking great. I will gladly take the win for Forest at G-Tech, though. That would be huge.
That would be huge, yes.
Because here's the thing. If they win, and who's Arsenal playing? Arsenal's not likely to drop points, but
we said that last week, and here we are.
If they'd still be behind Arsenal because of goal differential, but if Arsenal draw and Forest win, then they're tied on points with Arsenal 17 games into the season. They'd be insane.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
Yeah, Man City, we're taking them out of the champion. I've just looked again. They're done. It's between Liverpool, Chelsea, and Arsenal now. As far as the bottom, we talked about Southampton. I'm not quite ready to give Wolves my eulogy. As I said, if they lose this week, I will on the next episode. Ipswich, just 2 points behind Leicester and 3 points behind Everton. And Crystal Palace is kind of going backwards here into the relegation area as well. They do have a nice 4-point cushion, but still have to play all the teams below them going forward. So, the table, not much movement except for we talked about Nottingham Forest. Everything's kind of stayed the same here, and obviously Man City dropping, but it's going to be a fun weekend and a fun Boxing Day. I hope everybody enjoys it. Hope all your bets work out for you. And can anybody slow down Chelsea right now? I don't know, because they are El Fuego.
Yes.
En Fuego. Sorry. Do they know Spanish in England? I don't know.
Some of them do.
All right.
Four of them are Portuguese.
True.
4 managers are Portuguese.
Yeah. You say there's only 2 English managers in the Premier League?
Yeah.
Hal, obviously the Lego man.
Correct.
And who's the other one?
I'd have to think about it, unless you're counting Kieran McKenna, who's from Northern Ireland.
No. O'Neill was fired, so he doesn't count
Correct.
anymore. Who's the other
There
one?
were 4, and now we're down to 2 because Russell Martin and Gary O'Neill got
Yeah,
fired.
yeah. Who's the other one? Dyke is English. He was born in Kettering, England. So there you go. Sean Dyke is the other one. Congratulations.
Yeah. So Newcastle, and Everton are the 2.
All right, Matt Sells. I'm going to be getting my How Lego Man custom sent to you for Christmas. You could
Nice.
put it on your mantle. And you'll never look at him the same again.
Probably not. Probably not.
You're going to see it. Trust me. You're going to see it. I may flash for the YouTube views. I may flash a video or an image of him on the screen as I talk about it. It'll be fun.
There you go.
All right, let's do an ending and then we'll. So yeah, it's gonna be a good weekend of football in the Premier League. Then we'll be back next week to talk a little Boxing Day. We're gonna fight. Not that type of boxing.
No.
Boxing in the English Premier League the day after Christmas here in the States. Good luck to everybody. We'll see you next week. Keep it at EPL.